How's everyone doing today? Let's go. Let's go. Got a lot of good stuff going on here. A lot of rule changes. These guys are pretty nervous right now. It's pretty funny. We got Dougie Fresh coming back whining at me. It's a good time right now, boys. We got a lot of good stuff going on here. GME, for all the people in GME, we completed our share offering. We'll get into all of that. I'm just going to let some people jump in. Hope everyone's having a good day. Everyone in GME, you got to be feeling pretty good right now. Offerings completed, still rolling around $30. Got to be loving it right now. How is everyone doing today? We got some good stuff here, but we got a lot of corruption going on like normal. But these guys are trying to change the rules because they can't beat their own game. Their game is collapsing on them, so now they're changing stuff. They're putting Citadel in places. It's a lot of fun here. They're trying any and everything they can do to push these goalposts down. So let's go ahead and let's get started here. I always wait till I get about 200. Got about that now, so let's go ahead and get started. So if you guys haven't, I'm sure everybody's heard by now, GameStop has raised $2.14 billion. The night the offering was completed yesterday. Told everybody right when I got on, we're going to complete that offering today. You can just tell by the volume. When they did the large amount of volume the first day, like I said, that offering was going to be front loaded, and that's exactly what they did. So let's go. Good job there. Good job there on that capital raise by GameStop. Now, GameStop has billions of dollars. A lot of people are, what are they going to do next? And, a lot of people are asking me what I think they should do. And this is exactly what I said with AMC. If your field's in games, maybe consider buying a gaming company. Some of these gaming companies are worth a ton of money. GameStop only burned $30. Maybe start your own, develop a video game. There's a whole bunch of things that GameStop can do. They don't even need to stay in the gaming industry. They can go all sorts of paths with this. One of the things that a lot of people asked me today is, do I think GameStop's going to invest in AMC or anything, buy it, any of that? No, I don't think that AMC is in the future of GameStop. I wish it would. That'd be cool, but I don't think that's going to happen here. So, but I believe that GameStop should definitely, look into esports. They only burned 32 million, so it's not like they need to, come up with these massive things to generate large capital quick, you know what I mean, to start to get the profitability. So they should look into some of these things, but it'll be interesting to see what Ryan did. Obviously the cat Roaring Kitty was not worried at all in his video when they talked about the offering. He thought it was actually a good idea, so we'll see the way GameStop pivots from here. But I'm just kind of curious, what do you guys think that GameStop should do? I believe they should, like I said, maybe look into buying a video game company. You definitely have the capital and the ability to do so. I mean, getting a game, getting it on Steam, starting it off in that way. Because with Half-Life and Unreal 5, I'm sorry, not Half-Life, but with Unreal Engine 5, making a video game, it's not as costly and crazy as it used to be. The Unreal 5 is an amazing engine. So, just something for them that they could potentially look into. But yeah, like I said, they raised $2.1 billion. Now, one of the things we woke up today was absolutely hilarious is that Citron Research, they're always whining about the GameStop. They've exited their short position. And once again, just like always, when the bad guys lose, first thing they say is we are a cult. They talk about GameStop having $5 billion in the bank. They now have enough runway to appease their cult-like shareholders. Exactly. I mean, these shorts need to realize we're not going anywhere. We're going to keep these companies going and fuck them. They're all short. They're all swaps, and we're going to get into some stuff here with the swaps because one of the things that people are not paying attention to is this Bill Huang lawsuit, and some massive news came out of that lawsuit that people are not talking about. So, again, these guys are crying, they're bitching the kitty because of his live stream. Listen to how funny this is. So this guy got wrecked again. The kitty live stream is an insult to capital markets. Oh yeah, it's an insult to capital markets when we expose that it's a fucking fraud and a scam and a Ponzi scheme for you market makers and all you fucking tools. Hilarious. VR arcade inside theaters would be epic. Yeah, virtual reality, if they could do something like that, I mean, VR would be pretty cool. let's go ahead here. But one of the other things now that they're doing on Twitter, which is kind of funny, coincidental timing, is they're taking away people's abilities to see what other people's likes, what posts they like. So if you go under their like tab, it'll no longer fill for you. You can still see them at the bottom, but you can't see what other people like. So it's a way for them to censor it. And on top of that, what they can do is like posts and flood them with whatever type of bots that Twitter wants, so they can push agendas and they can push forward whatever posts they really want, because now you can't see who likes it. You'll just see it flooded with likes. Fucking hilarious. So moving on to AMC real quick, and then we'll start getting into the good stuff here. AMC right now, we're at 1177. I believe we're going to end this quarter. We still, like I said, we still have a couple good movies coming out here. I believe we'll end up at about 1.6. So we will have some cash burn for AMC. I still expect another debt for equity exchange, and I still expect an offering to kind of make up this cash burn. But the rest of the year, we are going to be profitable, so that's okay. Like I said, doesn't kill the play. Doesn't mean the shorts are going to go out there and buy all the shares. And that's the one thing that I told everybody right away. Look at GameStop. They put out all those shares, that giant offering, and it's not like all these shorts are covering. Just one that got destroyed once again. So the thing with AMC and what it's going to start to do that's smart, and one of the things I always talk about, so when it comes over to Inside Out 2, Inside Out 2 is tracking to be the biggest movie opening of 2024 with a domestic box office of 85 million. Now, this is what I always tell you guys every time we talk about these movies. Children's movies are where you make your mass amounts of money. And on top of that, the kids are the ones who want to get the candy and all the food. They want to buy all the merchandise. So these are the movies that are going to do very well. Again, going into next quarter, Despicable Me 4 should destroy at the box office. The last two did over $1 billion. I expect it to kill. Like I said, next quarter I expect to be very, very profitable. Bad Boys for Life is also doing very well now too. One of the things that AMC, but one of the reasons why I bring this movie up in the children's movie, is one of the things that AMC's doing now this summer is they're going to make $3 movie tickets. Now, this is for select movies, and they're doing it very smart, if you ask me, because what they're going to do is they're going to put in children's movies at a $3 cost. So parents can take their kids to the movies. It'll be insanely cheap for them to buy the tickets. And then they can go ahead and we already know AMC and movie theaters, they make their most profits on food, beverages, and merchandise. So now you're going to attract a large audience towards these because, like I said, they're going to be insanely cheap. And then and they're all children's movies. So again, you should be able to sell a whole bunch of merchandise and food and beverage along with it. So this was actually a very good idea by AMC. But now let's start to get into some other things. So like I said, guys, don't ever sleep on the children's movies. Those are banks for these theaters here. Now, one of the things I wanted to go into is I thought this was very interesting. Now, this came out a couple days ago and talked about Citadel. And Citadel, what, people can't hear me right now? Volume too low? Well, looks good on my end here, my friends. Is that a little better? Let me see something quick. Maybe my button got pushed in the back. Does that sound better? Hello? No. People that say I'm quiet, I mean, I don't know. It looks like I'm loud on my OBS here, so I don't want to turn volumes up. I guess turn your headsets up a little bit. But okay, yeah, people hear me. You guys, like I said, just turn your stuff up a little bit. So one of the things here that I found interesting is Citadel actually in May lost money. This came out a couple days ago. Citadel actually in May lost money, while their rivals actually made money. So that's very interesting to me that Citadel is losing money, and at the same time Citadel is losing money. Virtue Financial, little Dougie Fresh here, he tried to come at me strong once again this morning, and his fat ass got put right in his place. And that's right at the kitchen table, so he can keep eating and eating and eating. Oh my god, it's just funny. The guy has one thing about a past job that I did, and that's all he can say, when I'll slam him down with about 7 fucking facts, dude, about how shitty he is, his company, how he had to donate to his son's school, and he donated to their athletic department, and suddenly their son was on the team. Wonder how he got on there. It couldn't have been that donation. Could it have, Dougie? I mean, like I said, I got the picture of the donation, buddy. I can post it whenever you want. I just don't want to get children involved. But like I said, buddy, did that not happen? Did you not get sued by the iron workers that I told you were going to sue you? And next thing you notice, you got fucking sued by them? Remember when I told you, hey, I bet in about 2 weeks to a month, you're going to get a Wells notice. And guess what, Dougie? You got a fucking Wells notice, didn't you? And now you're over here asking to borrow money. We get it, Doug. You're too fat to outrun the cracks that are coming. You're a big guy. You're not fast enough to run with all the other people. So you're going to be the first to go. It's okay, buddy. It's coming. And I hope your team wins your little hockey series and you take credit for other people's ability because, again, that has nothing to do with you. Your fat ass can't get on the ice rink, so congratulations. But I hope when you're out there celebrating and they hand you the trophy, the second they're about to hand you it, police officers are right behind you to cuff your fucking fat ass because it's coming, bitch. And we are too. Now, enough about this loser because he's driving me nuts. But Dougie Fresh needs an extra $500 million because Virtue's doing so well. Fucking loser. All right. But I do want to show you guys. Oh, no. It's the same shit. The guy has one thing. That's all he ever says. Oh, my God, your past part-time job. Hey, Doug, let me explain to you how this works. I was also a general contractor. Now, as a general contractor, you might get paid every 5 weeks, 3 weeks, a month and a half, depending on your jobs, when they get paid, when they get finished, and then you get the paychecks. So I had a part-time job in between so I could get a paycheck and can continuously get income before my big lump sum checks would come. Holy crap. What a loser. Oh, Dougie Fresh. Don't worry, buddy. You and your little midget friend Gasparino who needs a high chair at the bar. We saw him sitting in the high chair with you. Don't worry, buddy. We're coming for your fucking loser asses. Don't worry. Now, I do want to show you guys something because this is when the corruption starts to come. This is when Citadel, now that they're losing money, this is when Roaring Kitty starts to fuck things up. Oops, sorry. So, Keith Gill bought his options around May 19th. And if you guys remember, Unusual Whales, his account always posts giant buys. And right around that time, he started posting, hey, there's a large buyer, but nobody knows who. The reason nobody knew who was it was a fucking retail investor. Of course nobody knew who. It was fucking Roaring Kitty doing it. So nobody knew who was doing this. They just saw that, hey, this thing could come over and start destroying shit. So he did it right around May 19th. And timing is fucking everything, of course. So what happens? Today, we'll get into the rule change here in a second. So what happens? Actually, let's just get into the rule change first. Because otherwise, what the fuck's this stuff, man? So right around the 19th, he gets his options. John Barada, this guy has worked with MMTPL. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the MMTPL fiasco, all that crap that's going on over there. Well, right now, he was talking about this as well. I posted this earlier today. If you look at the OCC's update in their new thing, what they wrote in there is OCC has the authority to postpone settlement of any options on any type of underlying interest when the OCC considers such action to be necessary in the public interest or to meet unusual conditions. Okay? So now the OCC has the ability to postpone settlements on contracts that would be giant in the money. If in the money things fly up, if they go over and say, hey, this Roaring Kitty stuff's fraudulent, we now have the ability to postpone any of your call options, your contracts. Well, guess what else they can do? So now they have the ability to halt postponement and execution on your fucking contracts. Okay? So listen to this. So this happened when? May 28th, 2024. The very next fucking Friday. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me look back. I had that wrong. I had the 28th or the 24th. So it happened the very next week, the next Tuesday. So shortly after somebody bought all these giant call options and it was being reported, they got to update this. We got to add this in there. We got to be able to stop those if we need to stop the postponement. Okay. Or the settlement. If it's in the public's best interest. You mean if it's in market maker's best interest? You mean if it's in your hedge fund buddy's best interest? Because in what world does ever postponing some call options help me? Never. So here's where they start your bullshit. Now, the good update. So this was announced. I posted this like yesterday. Right when I got up, this chimed my phone. The OCC has appointed Josh Woods to its board of directors. Who's Josh Woods? Josh Wood is currently the CTO at Citadel. The CTO of Citadel is now on the board of the OCC. So now that means with this new rule, since the OCC has the ability to tell when and when they don't consider this to be in the public's best interest, Citadel actually now has a say on what's in the best interest for the public and when they should and should not be able to allow these executions, because they now have a board member on the OCC. This happened 2 days ago. Here it is, the OCC. I'm a human, you piece of shit. Any of your fucking cookies. OCC welcomes Josh. This happened on the 10th. Big Josh Woods welcomes Citadel Security CTO Josh Woods to the board of directors. How is this not conflict of interest? Now, I want to show you how fucked up this is with Citadel. Citadel now is going to have their own exchange, their own stock exchange. Citadel is now going to be the lead market maker. Citadel also is on the LUD committee. If you guys look right here, Joseph McCain works at Citadel, and he's on the LUD committee, so he controls your halts. This guy sets your halts. All those halts you guys fucking hate, this guy's part of it. Now, who else is a part of it? Well, you just got fucking Josh Woods at the OCC, so now they have him right over there where they need him. So now they can halt your fucking options, and they can halt your stock. What else can they do? Well, David Ings works at the DTCC. So in other words, Citadel's basically on all the regulatory bodies. Citadel is regulating them. And then people go, why does Citadel have like one charge in 5 fucking years? Because they're on all the regulatory bodies now. They're not going to fucking come after themselves. They're literally on everything. And then they're going to have their own stock exchange to help fuck around with the CAT system. So what this does for us in the squeeze, what this does for us in MOAS, is they can sit there and go, well, these are under unusual conditions. We are not going to allow you guys to execute your stock options, but we'll maybe allow some trades here and there, trades here and there. We're going to change the rules and fucking cheat. We're going to take our ball and go home if you guys don't stop it. Fucking joke. Absolute joke. And like I said, how is this not a conflict of interest? Not only is Citadel a market maker, Citadel's a hedge fund, they're going to be an exchange, they're going to be in regulatory, but at what point does any of this become a conflict of interest? How deep does Citadel need to be embedded into the market before it's a conflict of interest? I'm just curious. Now, this guy's a piece of shit, and I want to show you his name because probably none of you have heard of him. And we need to know who's the biggest piles of shits out there. This guy's name is Stefan Berger, and he's a piece of shit. This dude is the managing director at Global Head of Government and Regulatory Policies at Citadel. This guy's the pile of shit that sits there and goes ahead and says who we need to bribe. This guy goes, what laws do we need to pay, get lobbyists to go fucking lobby and change this for us? What, this guy's the guy who finds the gray area and the loopholes. His job's to find them or create them. If he can't find one, his job's to go pay them to fucking make one. This guy's a fucking pile of shit, and he's a criminal, and his entire job is to find out how they can get away with criminal things or to change laws to allow them to get away with things that should be criminal. Now, at the same time, while they now have the ability to postpone the settlement on your option contracts, what else are they fucking doing? Last time when the thing, you notice that every single time GameStop starts to pop off, AMC and GameStop pops off together, brokerages suddenly break. What do you know? Charles Schwab, last time we had the run, Charles Schwab coins. Once again, they stop it with halts. 17 halts in an hour. 17 halts in fucking a minute. We know, we got it. 70 halts, shutting people's buy buttons off and turning people's abilities to log into brokers. They're pulling every fucking thing they can pull out as last-minute ditch efforts. Now, I want to show you something because this is what I told you guys is going to finish this, and I want you to see why. Actually, before I get to that, I do want to get to... No, let's just skip ahead. Let's get to that. One of the things forever I've been telling you guys about is the commercial real estate bomb that's coming. And I told you guys it was going to hit the bigger banks, and I told you it was going to crush down some regional banks and kill regional banks off. Well, some news came out, and it's huge. Well, first of all, PIMCO expects more U.S. regional bank failures. The real wave of distress is just starting. Like I told you guys, there's still $929 billion in commercial real estate that's coming due. They're at like 400. They still have $529 billion that's coming. Good luck. But before that, so this thing there talks about how all of these real estate banks are going to go under here. So it says the real wave of distress is just starting. Talks about malls, offices, high borrow costs have hammered valuations and triggered defaults, leaving lenders stuck with assets that are tough to sell. Well, one of the things people are not talking about is these larger banks are selling off their biggest assets, okay? But that's not what's the big news. It starts right here with this, and we'll get into this in a second because we now got some numbers too. What the banks are going to do is now that they're selling off their largest, most valuable assets, what JP Morgan, what Bank of America, since they're selling off these valuable assets, what they're going to do next is they're going to start to, as you read this line, we expect that banks will start selling these more challenged loans to reduce their troubled loan exposure. They will do it through what is called synthetic risk transfers. Now, this came out yesterday. I'm sorry. JP Morgan Chase arranged a series of trades to shift the risk of losses from $20 billion of its loans to rival banks and other private funds. Now, if you read this, and it comes down here, JP Morgan Chase has dumped off $20 billion in these commercial real estate, these bad fucking commercial real estates, in what we call synthetic risk transfer trades. Now, why do I bring this up? Read the next line. Opaque transactions heralded by Wall Street and approved by regulators that are supposed to hand possible loan losses
to hedge funds and other non-bank investors. So guess what, guys? Those commercial real estate bombs that I told you were going to go ahead and hit those banks, not anymore. They're going to hit the hedge funds. And it's going to be in the billions. 20 billion just off JP Morgan Chase alone. Just off JP Morgan Chase alone. 20 billion in loans that are going to fucking default. Are hedge funds ready for that? So this is what I'm talking about. They can sit here and change rules and do this bullshit to kind of like maybe lower the pressure, the price, this, that, this. But they're not going to fucking stop it. They can't. Because now you just passed on $20 extra billion to hedge funds. In stuff that's going to go under. They're going to take the losses. You literally were like, here's my buddies. Let me just dump $20 billion in losses on them. And guess what it's doing? It's starting to spook regulators. Huh. Why would it do that? Because hedge funds are now suddenly going to have giant bombs going off in the sum of $20 billion. How much did the other guys drop on them? How much synthetic risk transfer loans do fucking hedge funds own? 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 billion dollars worth that's going to collapse on them? So like I said, this is what I keep talking about. These guys are fucking pieces of shit. The bank issued about $25 billion in 2023. Partially offloading the risk of $300 billion in loans. Now, coming back to this, here is why Credit Suisse locked the files for 50 years. Because you thought the $20 billion there is scary. Listen to this. This isn't fucking sanity. This is what nobody's talking about right now with Bill Huang. And everybody should be talking about this. Listen to this fucking number. This comes out in the Archegos trials because everybody's telling on everybody. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the Archegos trials, but everyone is telling on everyone. Every single person right now is telling exactly what they did, how they did it, who taught them it, what bank. Everybody is telling on everyone. Everyone's taking plea deals, even Huang himself. So Huang comes out in the trial. Bill Huang of Archegos said that their gross exposure, listen to this, their gross exposure, the sum of its long and short positions was 160 billion. Now listen to this next sentence. So you have exposure between short and long of 160 billion. Now the very next sentence says the total value of the long positions were 106 billion, which means you have 54 billion in short exposure. Bill Huang and Archegos had 54 billion in short exposure. Now, as Peter pointed out as well, I have Peter Han on the show quite a bit. People don't talk about the short exposure. 54 billion worth of short exposure. That's nuts, you guys. 54 billion. That hasn't been covered. It's been locked away in a file. They locked it away. The obligations don't go away. They just lock the files away. So no one can fucking see them. This is why UBS is freaking out. UBS inherited a $54 billion short exposed position. $54 billion. Now, as Peter pointed out, I have been saying since March of 2021, he had shorts and they were not covered. Everything printed by the media about Archegos only talked about his long positions. Prior to being forced into being a family office because they broke so many regulations, his hedge fund was a notorious shorter. He had 54 billion in uncovered short positions. 54 billion. That was one family office. I told you a family office was going to come in and blow this up, and a family office was going to bring this all down. He should have been the one. He should have brought this down. He had 54 billion in just short exposure. How the fuck was that even allowed to happen? 54 billion in shorts. That is nuts, dude. Whatever happened to Citadel requesting they got their ass denied, dude. They did not get approved, which is good. No, in the document for the time frame on the OCC postponement, I didn't see a time frame either. So if they want to postpone your thing, who knows how long they can postpone your settlement on your contract for? That's what's scary. Could you imagine if you went out, you tried to do exercise, you tried to sell your contract, they went out, they got it, they're like, nope, we're going to postpone this contract actually because the price is too high. We're going to wait till it comes back down and then we'll go ahead. Or hell, we might wait 2 or 3 days because it's still an unusual circumstance. And this is the problem with this, is the fact that it says unusual circumstance, unusual conditions. An unusual condition is a squeeze play. It's an unusual condition. That's literally what it is. Squeeze plays are unusual conditions that happen in the market for some odd reason, which we know the reason, but they say it's for an odd reason. It's obviously for shorts being caught for something, tons of factors, but that's what they would classify as an unusual condition, would be a squeeze play. Which is why I fucking hate what's going on, because it's unbelievably fucking corrupt. Is the play dead? No, I just showed you how the play is not dead. Once again, commercial real estate is going to crush the people with the loans. You now have hedge funds who have those loans. The banks made synthetic risk transfer trades and they passed the risk to hedge funds. The hedge funds just from JP Morgan Chase alone have 20 billion in exposure. So when those go down, here, let me explain something to you to make you understand how important this is and why I talk about commercial real estate being the thing and not margin calls. There's a physical building there. There's a physical building. It needs to be sold. It needs to be repurchased. There needs to be payments. Something needs to happen, and it needs to happen in broad daylight, or it needs to be sold. Those need to be taken care of. So why they sit there when they say, all right, you should be margined as a hedge fund, but I'm not going to margin you. I'm going to allow you to go ahead and get away with it. I'm going to allow you to get away with it. How can I allow somebody to get away with defaulting on a building? You can't. You're going to have to take the fucking building or they're going to have to pay it. But guess what? The building's not going to be worth what the loan is. So now that bank's going to take the building and they're going to have no choice but to take your hedge fund. You're going to have to cover the rest. It's going to be in a default. And now if there's any lenders that were attached to that building, first lien lenders, there's other people that now need to get involved and you're going to have to go into bankruptcy court and sell the building off and pay those guys back too. So it's a big difference between just allowing one person to say, okay, I'm going to let you get away with this margin call, even though you're Bill Huang, you're 54 billion in overexposure. I'll let you get away with it. You can't do that with the building. There's too many other people that invested and were involved in it. So no, this will crush them. And it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger into next year and into this year. On top of that, one of the things I do want to show people, because FINRA finds ACS execution service. Now, this is a clearing service for broker dealers. They charge them with naked short selling. Now, if you guys come down here and look, ACS incorrectly believed it could rely on a broker-dealer client locating when effecting a short sale for its own account to facilitate trading. ACS effected at least 10 million short sales for its own account to facilitate short sales without borrowing the security. They naked short sold 10 million shares. They entered into a bona fide agreement, borrowing securities, having a reason to believe they could do it, but they're not bona fide market makers. They do not get Rule 203B, fill before locate. And this is what I hit fucking fat ass Doug Sifu with. You're not special, dumb fuck. There's nothing cool about you. You're not smart. You're not intelligent. You're just a fucking douchebag that takes advantage of a fucking corrupt system that is banned around the entire fucking world because you're a douchebag. All you do, you sell shit you don't own. You use exemption 203B, fill before locate, as a bona fide market maker, and you sell shares that you don't own. You don't locate, and you don't even know if you'll be able to come up with. You sell shit you don't own. And then you can take your exemption time and all the shit to fill them at a lower price. Wow. Really cool. So you sell something to somebody and you say you're going to do this. You go into the CNS program and all this other shit and dip into all these things and give us fake IOUs. Again, dude, you're a piece of shit, dude. There's nothing smart. Like, how fucking indie yourself for being a piece of shit for taking advantage of a corrupt system and people that don't understand that you're a rigged casino, and for stealing from fucking people like... God, your wife who used you, which I can show you, Doug. Your wife doesn't love you. She loves your fucking money, and she loved the opportunity that you gave her to move up in that industry. It was clear to see the timeline play out, you fat fuck. Again, go back and hang out in the bar with Gasparino and ask for $500 million from investors because you have to pay your lawyers because you're getting sued for stealing from fucking ironworkers. Fucking loser. What a fucking loser. All right, now back to this shit. So, again, you have 54 billion from one family office that hasn't been covered, and that was in short exposure. At what point? How much short exposure is there out there? How much short exposure is not being covered in family offices alone? These guys don't have to report. You can already show you. Here's one at 50 billion in short exposure. There's thousands of family offices. There could be trillion in short exposure that's not even watched. Like I said, the stock market is the definition of a fucking scam. And yes, of course you can make money in it. Of course you can. Of course you can learn to take the crumbs and do all that shit. Doesn't change the fact it's a fucking rigged fucking sham and a Ponzi scheme. So you can pay fucking politicians and make them rich. With what we call dark money and 1 billion in dark money political donations. Fucking pieces of shit. Like I said, your government doesn't work for you. They work for the fucking Wall Street who steals your retirement to pay a politician speaking fees. Now, throughout the economy, it's kind of funny because if you look at half the company in the Dow Jones, they have a lower risk now of defaulting than the United States does. The United States now is up to 40.96%. That's pretty pathetic. Like I told you guys, the United States is in a lot of trouble because we can't stop spending. And as you guys saw last quarter or the last report, our deficit actually increased 18 billion. So our deficit is actually growing because we are getting less taxes because you are killing your middle class. You no longer take taxes from the rich, you just take it from the middle and lower. Well, guess what? The middle and lower class have no money. So they're not spending at any of your companies, and none of them have any money for you to fucking take. So guess what? You're making less and less and less, and you're running into nothing but issues. Now, what's going to happen, as you guys can see, this is why I told everybody since, 3 years ago now, if you would have listened about gold and bought silver 3 years ago, you'd be up quite a bit. As you guys can see, gold prices are going higher, and on top of that, central banks are buying at an all-time high level, almost again reaching peak of 2022. Everybody sees what's happening. Everybody knows these fiat currencies are going to crash and fucking burn. So again, if you bought 3 years ago, you're feeling very good. You're doing it again now. They're not going to be able to stop this problem here in the United States. They're not, because again, treasury bonds are going to keep going. On top of that, when you kill your middle class, that takes away the bank deposits, which the bank deposits are what these guys use as lifelines. So once again, I want to show you guys this chart. So why the entire middle class and lower class are burning to the ground, the rich are just getting richer. The wealth for the 1% now is at an all-time high. They are richer than they've ever been. Now, as you guys can see down here, the change in the household net worth. So this is the value of everybody actually dropped. Now, if you guys see this and you guys look at these two charts on top of each other, which is why I popped them on like this, you can see the rich are just getting richer while we're all getting poorer. This literally shows you they're getting richer, we're getting poorer. Bidenomics, right in front of you. This is what happens when the mafia and the crime are able to buy your government. This is what happens when bankers can no longer get charged for criminal activities and felonies that you would get put away for life with. This is what happens when white-collar crimes get things that are called acceptance waiver and consents, and you get nothing. You just get to go to prison. There's a world they live in, there's a world you live in, and they're not the fucking same. The second COVID came and they printed $6 trillion, like I showed you with the Cantillon effect. They get the money first. They get to buy the assets. Prices get inflated. By the time you get your $1,400 check, you're buying stuff that is completely inflated, and they got to go ahead and make bank. But once again, when you look at what I was just showing you again with the government, see, this is their problem. I told you they're going to, and so did Ryan Cohen. You're going to eventually have to pick your economy, you're going to have to pick inflation, or you're going to have to pick the banks. You can no longer continue to do both because you've inflated this bubble for 14 years. You've literally inflated this bubble for 14 years. Now, if you guys look over down here at the unprofitable small cap companies, you're now getting back to, once again, you've just surpassed the dot-com bubble. You're now getting up to the great financial crisis levels. This is what I'm saying. Nobody has money to spend. Everybody is fucking tanking right now. While all of this is happening, what did I show you guys? And now the Ponzi scheme is finally unraveling. Once again, financial distress is now hitting the middle class. A new study finds that 2/3 of middle-class Americans are struggling financially. Half of American middle class is living paycheck to paycheck. 46% are unable to cover a $500 emergency, and only 1 in 5 could cover a $100 emergency. Pretty interesting here. Peter, I've been trying to get him on the show. I'm going to get him on here shortly here. He's insanely intelligent. He also looks at the corruption and what they show you and then what the real numbers are. So I'm actually going to be very excited to get him on here hopefully pretty soon. But like I said, the government is fiat currency, everything about this, what is currently happening, it's unsustainable as shit. And once again, you have all of these nuclear bombs and commercial real estate and other things that are going to hit them. And I truly do not know how they get through this entire year fully intact, which is why I've been telling everybody, get the fuck out of those big banks. Get the fuck out of these ISDA banks, because when they go down, so do you. If you're in a mom and pop regional bank, you're in a credit union. Now, when I say regional bank, I'm talking small mom and pop banks that are giving out home loans and shit like that. They're not going out giving out building loans and stuff like that. Again, but if you're in those banks, you're safe. If you have physical gold, if you have physical silver, guess what? You're going to be fucking jacked here in a couple months. I mean, I can't say some cryptos, but there will be cryptos that people are going to run to. Because again, what are you going to do when you see the fiat currency is going to crash? Now, one thing that people are not talking about, that is a massive deal. It's a fucking massive deal. And I'm going to get into this next time because it's huge. And I don't want to get into it because there's a lot to go over. And when it happens, this is going to crush America, or it's going to affect us quite a bit. Now, if you look over here, talks about the U.S. Saudi, the petrodollar pact ends in 50 years. Well, this ends on June 9th, which means oil for dollar exchanges, it might not happen that way. They're already talking about Saudi Arabia joined BRICS. I mean, if this agreement ends up going towards BRICS, that's a huge fucking huge deal. That's a huge blow to the United States. Huge blow to the United States. We'll get into that, but like I said, that's coming and that expires on June 9th. So, like I said, we're going to get into that soon. But again, the United States is taking fucking hits left and taking hits right. And then they're stealing and siphoning within themselves. And greed is always, in the end of the day, no matter how big your empire is, the thing that will take it down. So again, guys, make sure you're safe. Make sure you're in the right areas. Again, I believe meme stocks will take off because eventually they're going to have to cover these swap positions and these obligations. So, everybody's got your own different places to put your money. None of this is obviously financial advice, but, it's called logical thinking. If a dollar goes down, gold and silver are going to go up. If your economy gets fucked, guess what's going to go up? So, like I said, and then getting back into this. Now, everybody was talking, right? Oh, they're going to have rate cuts soon. They're going to do it by the end of the year. I told you they're not going to have a rate cut within like the next year and a half. Probably not even 2 years. I don't see a rate cut coming anytime soon. There's nothing in my mind that's making me go, okay, maybe a rate cut. No, they're not coming. They're not coming. It's going to get worse. It's just going to get worse. There's 0%. There's a chance there's a rate cut coming anytime this year. They're already now saying, never mind, let's go ahead and scrap those rate cuts. They thought they were going to do them in July. Nope. Fuck no. Like I said, this economy is way too bad of shape. I keep telling you guys, they need a MOAS. They need to allow a MOAS because they need to re-stimulate their middle class. They need to not do it by printing. The reason you would do a MOAS is because you would say, all right, we funneled trillions of dollars offshore. We now need to bring some of those trillions of dollars back. We need to give it back to the middle class because guess what? The middle class is who we're taxing. And on top of that, the middle class is who comes and spends it at our stores. So if we go ahead and give it back to the middle class, it'll just funnel back its way back to us in the end of the day. But it's the way to save your economy, save your country, and bring inflation down. So again, a MOAS in the end of the day is their best interest because you can stimulate your economy. And if you give your middle class, enough people their money, some people will be happy enough going their way and keep going down. And you don't want to get the ants too riled up, which, they're obviously getting us as riled as you possibly can. I'm honestly surprised. I'm not even going to say anything, but, there's some things I'm surprised about. Let's just say that. But one of the things I wanted to show you guys also why they're going to lose. I've talked about NVIDIA endlessly. I showed you it's a Ponzi scheme. I showed you all of these ways that they cook books and fake sales and they put shit in accounts payable, which is, hey, we gave these guys a product, but we didn't get paid for it. I showed you how they do it with the shell company through contracts, and then they take investors' money, and then they pay NVIDIA back, so then NVIDIA can eventually take those accounts payable and put it in as actually receive money, but until then, they'll cook the books and keep the chip prices high. Well, during this investigation that I showed you last week, and during a lot of other big name people are talking about this now, which is finally what I've been talking about for fucking ever. NVIDIA is a Ponzi scheme. They have a term for it, and I didn't know exactly what it was called, but now we know. Once again, if you guys look at it and listen to what they're talking about, the questions should come from the SEC. Are these real revenue streams? Are these real revenue? What's going on? This is exactly what this guy talks about the entire time. Revenues are being fabricated through what is called round tripping. Okay? Now, if you go ahead and you pull up what round tripping is exactly what I've showed you they're doing. Round tripping is, here you go, is defined by the Wall Street Journal as a form of barter that involves a company selling an unused asset to another company. Like I told you, they're giving them these chips that aren't being used, while at the same time agreeing to buy back the same or similar assets at the same price, which is exactly what I told you. So they'll go out there, They'll go make a shell company. They say that they're giving them they're giving them 1.2 billion in fucking chips. The shell company's not even really using the chips. They're getting massive evaluations. They hope to take the investors' money and buy back X amount of stuff from NVIDIA that is worth the 1.2 billion that NVIDIA said that they donated to them in chips. And now NVIDIA can take that 1.2 billion that they stole from investors because, hey, this is an AI company. This is an AI company and it's worth fucking $7 billion. So putting in a $1.2 billion fucking investment's not that crazy. So then they do it. And then that company can't live up to the expectations because they're not even really using the chips that NVIDIA supplied for them. But guess what? NVIDIA owns the fucking shell company too. So now when they go under, NVIDIA gets first lien. And guess what NVIDIA does? They take their chips back. So they just stole from those investors all that fucking money, and they make in the agreements that they get their chips back on all fucking bankruptcy agreements. So then suddenly they go bankrupt, investors get crushed, and they get to take all their chips back. It's a fucking Ponzi scheme. So it's called round tripping. But like I said, so they use an unset asset to another company while talking about share buybacks. Swapping assets on round trip produces no net income. Okay, it produces no net income, economic substance, but it may be fraudulently reported as sales, as productive sales. And that's exactly what I showed you. That's exactly what they're fucking doing. They're going out and they give them 1.2 billion, and then they say 1.2 billion in payable received. I showed you their number one customer is CoreWeave, and the CEO of CoreWeave was the guy who fucking did the fraud at Enron, and Enron collapsed. So then he went over and got hired at CoreWeave, and then became NVIDIA's number one fucking client, and then they started cooking books and making shell companies. So again, you guys, their hill is full of fool's gold, and now a government is looking at the gold and saying this shit doesn't look real. We better look into this. This is the other bomb I've been telling you guys to wait. Wait until NVIDIA gets fucking caught. Because they're pumping their numbers by like $26 billion a fucking quarter. They're like pumping themselves. And they're paying themselves fake money. That's really being stolen later on from investors. So again, I always like to educate people and just let people know terms, what they're doing. NVIDIA, which is where all of your hedge funds ran for all of their collateral, NVIDIA is doing what is called round tripping, and NVIDIA is a Ponzi scheme, and they're all praying to God nobody figures out it's a Ponzi scheme before everything else collapses. So again, hedge funds are going to take giant losses from commercial real estate. They're going to get fucked over when this goes down and goes under from all these regulatory bodies looking into them. And here's the scary thing. These regulators, the Doge, they're not even investigating this part yet. They're going to be doing it soon. That will be the next thing they investigate in NVIDIA. Their fake revenue streams. Then when this crashes, they lose collateral. They take a hit from the commercial real estate bonds going under. Now you have hedge funds getting margin called. If you're in GameStop right now, you're fucking loving it. You just did your last capital raise probably forever. Like, when the fuck will they ever need another capital raise again? And for what purpose ever? They won't. They wouldn't. So now you have billions to change your company, switch it around, and looks to me like retail scooped up almost all those fucking shares already. I know Citron Research bought some, but they bought some to fill up their shorts. He announced he did. But like I said, guys, their greed will always be their fucking downfall. It will always be their downfall. Because there's too many people that are too fucking greedy. There's too many people dipping their hands in the pot. But does anybody have any questions? I'm pretty much done with everything I wanted to go over today. Does anyone have any questions at all? Baby Bigums update. Baby Bigums is up to 4 pounds today. Let's go. Doing well, doing well. Got about, what, 6 weeks before he's due? I'm excited, guys. 6 more weeks. Finally get to meet my son. But I don't see any questions at all. That's all I really wanted to go over today. Like I said, the OCC rule, Citadel implanting themselves. Just for a quick recap, GameStop raised $2.14 billion. Citrona had to back out because, again, they lost a shit ton of money. AMC, I expect us to get about 1.6 billion domestically, which I expect a capital raise or an exchange, debt for equity exchange, one more time before they're able to restructure their debt. You have tons of big movies coming out next. Like I said, next month you got Wolverine and Deadpool. This is going to be the biggest movie of the year. This will be the biggest movie of the year. On top of that, you'll have Despicable Me 4, which will be the biggest children's movie of the year. So I expect next quarter to be fucking massive. Despicable Me 4 will destroy it too. This will destroy it too. And the thing about Deadpool versus Wolverine, you're gonna have a ton of. This will be a movie that they will buy merchandise for. The people that want to do this, the comic book type people, they will want to buy the merchandise. So that this will be a huge revenue getter here for AMC. Again, don't sleep on children's movie. This is your biggest. Inside Out 2 will be your biggest domestic box office opening in all of 2024. AMC, again, they're going to do $3 movies this summer for children's movies. All the Despicable Me 2 and 3, these two again did $1 billion. So these could actually, like I said, this was actually a very good idea. Kids movies, the kids want to buy, again, merchandise and popcorn and all the food and candy. Citadel lost money in May. Dougie's a piece of shit. He needs to borrow more money because he spent it all on lawyers from stealing from ironworkers and getting sued by him. The OCC has changed rules now where they can postpone execution on contracts. This happened to come around 8 days after Roaring Kitty bought his option contracts. Go figure. Citadel has implanted their CTO on the board of directors at the OCC, and this is now, which means now Citadel has say in when they can go ahead and not execute or postpone these contracts. So Citadel now has say in when we can execute and postpone contracts under usual circumstances, or if they think it's in the best of public interest. So once again, Citadel implanting and making more fucking bullshit for themselves. Citadel is now on the LUD committee, which means they're in charge of your halts. They're also on the DTCC with David Ng, and now they're on the OCC. Stephen Berger is a piece of shit, and he's the one who's in charge of figuring out how they can get around laws, how they can get around loopholes, or who to bribe to create new ones. ACS got charged with naked shorting of 10 million shares. Bill Hwang has a short exposure of 54 billion before they locked and sealed it away. I asked a month ago if I have long and short stocks. I don't know when I saw positions. I'll take it. I can't tell you when to do anything with selling, my friend. You think they'll ever crack down on Pelosi? Fuck no. Nothing Pelosi's doing is technically illegal, so why would they? Roaring Kitty's exercise won't affect the stock price for GME since. I mean, if he exercises his contracts, yeah, of course it'll still affect the stock price. It'll still happen. It's just how much will they allow to be executed is the question. It's just how much will it affect it? Because like I said, they might only allow him to do half. You never know. Or it might execute some, postpone some, and slowly fill it out through execution so it doesn't explode the contract, explode the price. So, but it'll still affect it. Pros and cons of buying AMC shares versus call contracts. No, I mean, contracts and calls are always a risk. So shares, you're more safe, obviously, with long-term effects compared to contracts, depending on how you want to buy it. I mean, you could lose it or you could make quick money and buy more shares. So, I mean, I can't tell you which way to play it, or there's pros and cons for however your style of play is. It's hard to know how to answer that without knowing how you play that, my friend. When I sell my shares, will they first take my long positions or my short positions? I'll take your long positions first. They're going to take the shares you own. Time to short NVidia and Affirm. I've already shown you the Ponzi scheme on Affirm. Is it time? I'd give it a little longer. Yeah, Affirm, you haven't started seeing the cracks yet. I would give Affirm, because the first thing people are gonna stop doing is paying their buy now, pay later shit, because it doesn't affect their credit score. I would let your middle class take a little bit more pain here, and then I would short Affirm maybe. But I can't do. That's financial advice, but that's what I would do. You would do a whole bunch. You would do whatever your mind tells you to. So. You don't play the same way as me, right? So, again, not financial advice, but that's what I would personally do. Man, I hope we moon so my little guy can have a life as well, man. Have a good one. I don't want to sit here and have to be doing YouTube. I'd rather just, like I said, that's the funny thing. Everybody sits in, oh, these YouTubers you guys just want us to fucking keep going and YouTube to go on forever. It's like, dude, if I Moaz, do you think I would be doing YouTube still? No, I'd go live my life with my fucking family. That's all I would do. Why the hell would I need to come on and make more videos? See, here's the thing. I'm from Minnesota. I'm not fucking greedy. Like, there is a point in life where it's like, all right, I have enough money. What do I need the rest for? Like, who cares? You can get too rich, believe it or not. Like, I know rich people don't understand this concept, but there's a point where you're like, all right, I'm too rich. Who gives a fuck anymore? Money should no longer matter or be this thing that you care about. It's pathetic. It's pathetic how far. But if I go to my rich party friend and he shows he has more in his account, I feel what, like a rich person still? Like I said, greed, dude. I don't know why people have to have so much fucking greed in life. It's like, Jesus. Let's say you have all the money in the world, you go buy all these things and all this stuff. You're still gonna get bored. You're still gonna do the like. I get money makes everything easier in life. Yes, of course we all want money. Of course I want money. But when you get to a point, it doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't make anything different. People could figure that out. We could all have a little better life there. There is no money in YouTube. That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, I make like $1,000 a month on YouTube from ad revenue stream. I mean, you think that if I was like, hey, we did a MOAS, I got to go get my $1,000 a month, and like, I spend a lot of time researching. I don't make much for, like, if you broke down how much time I spend researching shit to how much I make on YouTube revenue streams, I'm making like $5 an hour. So again, I would rather us MOAS than have to keep making YouTube videos. I'm pretty sure the GME meeting is tomorrow. I mean, I haven't heard any like cancellation or anything. Make sure. I mean, pretty sure it's the 13th. Yeah. I mean, I can join the meeting now. So yeah, it's definitely tomorrow at 10 a.m. Maybe I'll stream the meeting or stream right after, because obviously you should tell us we should get something. I mean, that's the thing. And see, I want to talk to some people also that are more into the MMTPL before I comment on this post. I will get in contact with John as well. But apparently this is what they did. So the OCC did this with the options in Torch. They told options holder in a memo that they did not have to settle the Series A pref, aka MMTPL. They didn't have to settle them. This memo was issued to MMs, market makers, by the OCC just before the dividend date, and retail had no clue. Pure collusion, in my opinion. This is not for the benefit of general investor public, but rather for those hedge funds and market makers gaming the system, who filed to get torch options to trade in why just 4 weeks before the merger and dividend. So again, I'm going to read that one part in the middle there one more time. They told the options holder in a memo that they did not have to settle the Series A pref, aka MMTPL. Now, I did see this. I have seen this letter. I've seen this posted. There's a couple accounts that I follow, but I haven't really super looked into this. But again, I'm going to go ahead and talk to some people in MMTPL, because obviously this affects us all, because they can do this to GameStop or AMC or anyone else they fucking want to. So again, one more time. This memo was issued to the market makers by the OCC just before the dividend date, and retail had no clue. This is not for the benefit of retail or the general public. So again, they've already used this to collude against you, and then they told you probably it was for your best interest. It's for you guys. It's for your best interest to not get rich. It's for your best interest to not make money. Trust us. We're the people you're making the money off. It's not in your best interest to make money off me. Fucking scam, dude. Fucking scam, dude. So, nah, man, I love making videos. I do this for fun. It's not like I'm sitting here doing this for, oh God, I got to make that money right now. Like I said, I don't make that much to where it's not that big of a deal. I mainly do this for fun, to expose criminals. Look at Doug Sifu today. Doug Sifu is fucking interacting with me, and I'm putting him in his fucking place like a little bitch that he is. Shit's fucking hilarious. Like I said, I want a better life for my kid. I want a better world for my son. That's why I do this. If I don't show the world that what these criminals are doing, guess what? If nobody else does it, if no one cares, they're gonna continuously do it until he's a fucking 50-year-old. And guess what? What kind of world is he gonna inherit? What kind of inflation is my kid gonna have? Look at house prices right now. Look at house prices right now. Will my kid ever be able to afford a house? We now learn mainstream media is nothing but a lie. So we need to be our own mainstream media. Like I said, you'll never see them put me on a fucking TV show. You'll never see them put me in these, like most of these space calls like Ian and fucking Pollute and all that shit. I'm not going to get involved with that because I don't care about clout and shit. And that's what a lot of those people do it for. It's like, no, fuck that shit. We need to fucking get over ourselves, and we need to just come together and go, hey, these guys are criminals, and they're doing crimes against every single one of you. You have a group of like 10,000 people committing crimes against millions and millions by the sums of trillions of dollars, and we're allowing it. Like I said, we can be way more powerful than we fucking think. This is shit you can't even make up in movies. What is going on right now? You don't even see this shit in movies. Doug's definitely a beta, man. He's Vincent Viola's beta. He does whatever Vincent tells him to. Vincent really runs Virtue Finance, not Doug Sifu. He's just there. But all right, guys, I'm gonna get going here. We're gonna make the wifey some lunch. Feed little man. Thank you guys all for listening. I appreciate it. We will definitely. I got a lot more to show you guys. Again, I'm gonna get in touch with MMTPL. We'll go over that a little bit more. I'm gonna show you more into that that June 9th Saudi Arabia deal, because that is a massive fucking deal in the United States. And as always, more corruption comes up every day. So thank you guys for listening.